Hello everyone. I am going to give a theory as to why we don't make the art that we think we want to make. And this kind of art is like the art that's like hard to make, which is relative, but like for example, like say making an entire movie by yourself. Okay. So let's start with two possible reasons why people might procrastinate. The first reason, which might be the bigger main reason, is because they truly don't want to do it. For example, if there was a school assignment and someone truly wanted to do that school assignment, there's probably not going to be many things that'll stop them from doing it. So the second reason is that maybe they're overwhelmed, maybe they don't truly understand what they're doing and stuff like that, and so they procrastinate on it. Now, with the second reason, that won't be the focus of what I'll be talking about. And the way I will give that maybe it'll help with that one is maybe like being more educated, like figuring out what is it that you truly want to do and all these different things. So that way knowledge stops being a barrier from like you doing it, or like when it comes to, for example, being overwhelmed, like figuring out a way to deal with that so that also doesn't become a barrier. However, I'll be focusing more on the first reason, which is that we truly don't want to do it. And that reason might actually be more common than some of us might admit. So, this reason of we don't do things because we truly don't want to do them. So, when it comes to those ideas, that might be true. But the question is, why would that be true? Well, think about it this way. Imagine if your brain made a calculation, subconsciously, consciously, or whatever. And the calculation it kept making is that the input to do something is worth either equal to or more or less than the output you'll get. So in cases like these, it will determine that the input is worth less than what you're going to get out of it. And so what happens is that we have these ideas that we think we want to do, but we actually truly don't want to do them because our brain has either made a subconscious decision or a conscious decision that what you're going to get out of it is going to be worth less than what you put into it. So the thing about that is that sometimes our brain can make an inaccurate calculation. So with dealing with that case, what might help maybe is to like get some knowledge as to how it's inaccurate, figuring out all of the different things relating to the thought process that might help you make a more accurate calculation. And if that calculation turns out to be that you actually truly do want to do it, well then that probably solves a lot of the problem as to why you haven't been doing it. But let's assume that it's accurate, and that might actually also be more than we might think. If the calculation is accurate, then what ends up happening is that we have these ideas that we think we want to do, but we truly don't want to do them. And so the thing is, how do we deal with things like that? How do we deal with ideas and things that we think we truly want to do, but in actuality, we don't want to do them? So, there might be a few approaches to take to this, and it might depend on how you got to want the idea without truly wanting it, and things like that. So there's two ways this could have arisen. There might be more, but one way is that it arose from the fact that you do want it because it will satisfy you on some level or give you some positive outcome. It's just that the input-output ratio makes it so the input is worth less than the output you're going to get. In case like that, what might help is trying to figure out how to fix it so the input will be worth the output. But if you can't do that, then you might just have to accept that Like, accept the fact that the output is not going to be worth the input, and figure out how to deal with that. Because, in this life, we have to make trade-offs. And there are things that's like, there's many ways, many decisions where it's like, yeah, this will give me some positive thing. But there's so many negatives that come with that. And at some point, we might have to realize, I want this, but I don't want it enough to justify the cost to me. And so don't. Like, just figure out how to deal with that. How to live in such a way where you can be okay with the fact that you have this output you want, but the input is not worth it. And one way of maybe potentially dealing with that is figuring out how to get an input that either leads to that is like much more, that is something you truly want to put into, to get you an output that's either somewhat what you want, or may even be what you truly want. And I'll get more into that. So the second approach is that maybe the reason why you think you want it, even though you truly don't, is because it's what society either expects of you, or it's what you feel like would get you more socially accepted, or maybe it's a more socially acceptable idea, things like that. And one way I'm going to deal with this is to take the idea of an artist who does not want to make things that are hard to make, but does make things that are easier to make. With an artist like that, I would conjecture that what they're making is actually what they truly want to make. And one proof of that might be the fact that they did it. And of course, maybe there's things that they did out of obligation and stuff like that. But if they made that art, it's because they wanted to make it. And so the thing is that art may be more on the simple and basic side. But to them, it's worth the input. It's impactful to them on some level. So when it comes to that, how does one deal with that? How does one deal with the fact that what they truly want is the simple and basic and less complicated, when society and other people values other things that are more complicated, things that have more involved with them? How does one deal with that? How does one deal with the fact that what they truly want is not equal to what other people want, or what they feel like will get them more socially accepted, or things like that? And there might not be an easy answer to that, but here's a suggestion I might give. The suggestion I might give is for a person like that to realize that they should only care about the opinions of themselves and like other people that truly care about them, rather than the opinions of people that don't even care about them. And of course, that might be hard. It might be hard to look at the opinion of a stranger and say, that's not worth anything. And when I say it's not worth anything, I don't mean like that their opinion is invalid or stuff like that. More like it doesn't mean anything to you. And that might be hard, but it's the way we have to do it. Because why will we care about the opinions of people that have no impact on us as a person, or care about us, or know about us, or anything like that? And then also, another thing is that some people might think that applying this advice means that they look at art less objectively. What I mean by that is, like, for example, let's say an artist values what they make because they've made it. Like, if someone else made that same art piece, they wouldn't have valued it as much because they made it. Or like they feel like the reason why other people in their lives care about what they do is because it comes from them, not necessarily because of the art piece itself. And you know, that again might be like one thing where it's like we might feel uncomfortable with an idea like that, but maybe it's a valid reason to appreciate things because you've made it. You know, like it's impactful to you because it's your art, because you've made it. That might be a valid reason, and it might also be a valid reason for someone to look at your art and say, this art is valuable to me because you made it. Or at least those be the main reasons, you know? And maybe we should not think, oh, this is like a more subjective way of valuing art, this is less objective, this is not as valid as something where a lot of people truly care about it or whatever. Like, no. We should go with what we truly value. We should go with the opinions of our own and of other people that truly value us. And even people that truly value us, maybe even them will sometimes think that your art is rubbish and you don't think it is. And maybe even people like that, even those people, you have to realize their opinions don't matter either. And you can figure out a reason as to why that is. But yeah, that's my theory, and I'll end it here.